Welcome back to another episode of the Draw Control podcast. On today's episode, I am joined by grad student on the Sacred Heart women's lacrosse team, Emma Kittredge. In her lacrosse career, Emma was named to the Second Team All-NEC twice in her career and was selected to the NEC All-Tournament Team last season. Also last season, Emma scored 49 points on 39 goals and 10 assists, as well as picking up 16 ground balls, winning 12 draw controls, and causing 5 turnovers, as she earned NEC Offensive Player of the Week back in February. Before college, Emma had 11 combined varsity letters in lacrosse, field hockey, and track. She's a two-time All-Lacrosse player in high school, named team MVP in both lacrosse and track in 2019. She also captained her high school lacrosse team in her senior year and helped them to a league title in 2017. Emma, welcome to the Draw Control podcast, and how's everything going?
Thank you so much for having me. Everything's good. We just wrapped up our fall and I'm excited to get working for this upcoming season.
Yeah, how was your fall semester, both on and off the field?
It was a great fall. Unfortunately, I did deal with a little injury, which took me out for a few weeks, but definitely just gave me a different perspective and just let other girls step up on the field, which I was really excited to see. And I'm really just excited for this upcoming season.
Yeah, how's the injury recovery going? Because I feel like that sometimes could be tough to manage, especially when it's something that you're just trying to, I guess, get figured out before the injury occurs, I guess.
Yeah, so I've never really dealt with an injury, so I just had a little pulled quad for a few weeks, and unfortunately, it was right during those fall ball games. So I had to just sit out and recover, and now I'm all good and ready to go.
Well, let's talk about this upcoming season. That's usually the way I like to start off most of these podcasts. Let's start off talking about the off season. What was your off season like in regards to training, and what were some of the things that you worked on to prepare for this upcoming year? I feel like there's not a lot of things for you to work on coming into your fifth year, but you always have to find something, I would imagine.
Yeah, after having those 4 summers to train, definitely hasn't changed much. I'm always weightlifting and working on my speed work, running, just staying active. And that's always just been the biggest thing and where I have always seen a lot of success.
Now you're a grad student this year, so talk about the leadership that you want to try to bring to the team. And would you consider yourself more of a vocal leader or lead by example type of player with the experience that you have?
I would definitely say I'm the definition of a lead by example player. I've just always been coachable. I love to just do the right thing, show everyone what we should be doing day in and day out. But the vocal aspect is definitely what I've been working on this fall. Definitely being able to step up without a huge upperclassmen class has been a challenge, but it's something I've been working on and where I want to get better at.
Now I know you were injured during fall ball, but what was fall ball like for your team from your perspective, and what did you take away from the games that your team played, and how have the new players looked? Like you mentioned, there's obviously some turnover with your team this season.
Yeah, well, I feel like we have a really young team this year, but I was so happy to see them play and just work together. And honestly, they had to step up. Like they realized that it's just us, so we need to step up and do the same thing over again, whether they were on last year's team or not. I feel like everyone bought in and it was really exciting to see.
Now, after winning the NEC championship last season, what are your team's goals and expectations for this season? Obviously, it's to repeat, but is there anything else on your team's radar that fans aren't aware of?
I mean, yeah, the goal is definitely the same. We want to go back to back. We definitely have a target on our backs in the NEC. And our goal is just doing the same thing like all year. I've just been saying, like, I don't want to win another championship on anyone else's fields. Like, I think that's going to motivate us to just do it again in the same place at the same time.
And individually, what do you want to accomplish for your final year of college lacrosse?
I would say individually, maybe just get a little more crafty and comfortable on the offense, just try some different things, but also just have confidence in my team. I will be like calling the plays, taking a little bit more control. So definitely just having more confidence overall and not just being another attacker going through the motions and doing what I'm supposed to do as always.
Yeah. And confidence is such a huge part of sports, especially in lacrosse, because I feel like players that have confidence tend to play better than players that don't. And as a senior and as a fifth year player, how do you sort of work on your confidence to make sure that it's always in a good place? Because I feel like in your position, you have to be the one with the most confidence on the team because a lot of players are following in your footsteps.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that was probably the biggest thing I saw improvement on. And that's really when my game started to improve, probably like my junior year. But I think that just comes with a few years under your belt. And it's definitely really important, as you say, like everyone looks to you. If you're not confident in what the team's doing, then how is the team going to be confident in what we're doing? So you just have to always be confident in yourself and just be confident in your teammates and give them that confidence every day.
So let's transition now and talk about the beginning of your lacrosse career and sort of work all the way up to where you are today. So from the research I did on yourself, Emma, it says that you're from Baldwin Place, New York. So talk about growing up there and how did you start playing lacrosse?
Yeah, so I'm from Somers, New York, Baldwin Place, but Somers, that Yorktown, John Jay area, just such a hotbed for lacrosse. So many great players come out of that area. So it was definitely great experience growing up there, being able to play with such great athletes, definitely prepared me for these college years, but it was just a great experience playing with girls I grew up with and from such a strong program.
And growing up, did you have like a favorite lacrosse player that you like to watch?
I would say I didn't have a favorite, but I love to watch Taylor Cummings, Kayla Trainer, Sammy Joe Tracy, and probably Katrina Dowd.
Nice, nice. Is it cool seeing Kayla Trainer being a coach now, especially in Syracuse, sort of in your area?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, she's such a legend there, so it wasn't a surprise, but very cool to see.
So one thing I noticed about you that I thought was pretty cool is you have a younger sister named Ella who also plays college lacrosse for Holy Cross. I just want to ask you what's it like what was it like growing up with her and how has she helped you in your lacrosse career? Just I'm curious what that dynamic is like between an older and younger sister, especially two people that are very elite and competitive in the same sport.
Yeah, I mean, having a younger sister, it's always so much fun. Like you always have someone to go out in the yard and have a pass with. She definitely keeps me on my toes, especially like in these college years. But I mean, we always had so much fun playing together. That was probably the highlight of my high school career because we just had such great chemistry. She's my best friend. And if I could play with her this fifth year, I probably would. But yeah, it was just great to have a younger sister. We always train together, always have someone to push you when you don't want to do it on those like cold winter days over break, but no complaints. It's the best.
Have you ever played against her in college before?
We actually had a fall ball game this fall when I was out, but we were at the same tournament, but unfortunately we didn't get to play. But we were so excited when the schedule came out because we saw we both teams are going to be there. But unfortunately we've never played each other, but we've always talked about it.
That's I don't is that disappointing or like good? Because I feel like sometimes it must be fun to play against your sibling, but also part of you must be like, I kind of don't want to play against you just because it's just a little bit awkward. I'm curious what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say fall ball is probably the best place for that. It's more casual, just fun to get out there. So I think it's better. My mom is like always worried. She's like, I don't know what I'd do. Like kind of stressful, but it was a hope, but it's okay. We still just root for each other now.
That's good. That's good. Well, let's talk about your high school lacrosse career because you played for Somers and obviously had a lot of success with that program. What was your high school lacrosse experience like from your perspective, and what's like the best memory you have from those days when you look back on it now?
Um, I would say playing for Somers, it was just such a great opportunity. I would say, like when I was a sophomore and first on the varsity team, we had such a strong group of girls like Libby Rosenzweig, and it was really just awesome to play with them and see their style and see them step up and that success that they had, and just bringing that into my last few years was a lot of fun, and just being able to play in that competitive Section 1 environment was amazing.
Now, how do you think your experiences both in club lacrosse and high school helped prepare you for college lacrosse with Sacred Heart?
Definitely playing club and high school lacrosse helped me just be coachable, be able to adapt to playing with new girls you might not have played with before. So definitely just being able to adapt and learn from maybe something that you're not used to doing.
Well, let's talk about your recruiting process now with Sacred Heart. What was that like from your perspective, and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at?
Yeah, so Sacred Heart was actually one of the last schools I looked at. I honestly had never really heard about it. I knew about Fairfield, which was very close by, but I never heard of Sacred Heart. And then me and my mom, we just decided to visit, and I ended up falling in love with it. I just love the campus. It's only an hour away from my house, and honestly, being at a close school and a smaller school is actually such a great thing for me. And I just really loved it, along with the coaches, the team, and just being able to grow a program from a not so great program to where it is today has been awesome.
Let's talk about sort of your time with Sacred Heart and the growth of the program because you're not exaggerating when you say that. So, as a freshman, what was sort of like the biggest adjustment you had to make to college lacrosse when you look back on it now?
It was definitely tough my freshman year. I was an attack flyer or runner, whatever you want to call it. So it was definitely hard just finding your place, especially you come in as one position and your coach can make you something else. So I think just finding my role on the team that year was the hardest thing for me.
And also during your freshman year, the season was cut short due to the pandemic. How'd you sort of handle the challenge of having your season get cut short, but also having to prepare and stay in shape with so many restrictions and uncertainty when you were going to play again?
Yeah, it was definitely unfortunate that that year got cut short, but it definitely was a blessing in disguise that it was my freshman year and not this last year. So the goals still stay the same. I stayed active, did what I could, just like any other athlete, but it was definitely a heartbreaker that season, but it just encouraged us to come back stronger and do whatever we could to get back to where we were.
Now you play in the NEC, which is a smaller kind of conference in women's college lacrosse. So I want you to just talk to me about what it's like playing in that conference and just the competition that you face each game.
Yeah, definitely the NEC it's definitely grown and become a much more competitive conference for us. Definitely those small school rivalries, but it's been great competition and I'm just excited to see where it's going.
And we talked about sort of the biggest adjustment that you had to make to college lacrosse, but what would you say is the biggest improvement you've had to make? What's like the biggest improvement you've made throughout your time with Sacred Heart?
I would say my biggest improvement has to have been my shooting and just my speed work on the attack and just finding that place because I was kind of all over the place. I started as a midi, then a flyer, maybe back to a midi, and then finally just being on pure attack my senior year, which just allowed me to really just excel and put up the points that I hadn't been putting up before. So definitely my shooting and just my dodging has significantly improved.
You also mentioned that before in the beginning of this interview that you want to be more versatile attacker. So how do you work on your offensive skills and your attacking part of your game? And how do you think that improvement happened once you finally became more of an attacking player for your team? And how do you come up with those different strategies? Obviously, you don't want to reveal too much in case some opponents are listening, but I feel like being a versatile attacker is super important because obviously defenses are coming up with different ways to try to stop your team from scoring.
Yeah, definitely. I would just say it's all about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, maybe just trying different spots that you're not usually in on the field, whether that's a certain part of the eight, and just trying those new moves that you wouldn't normally try. That's definitely what I've been doing this fall and just trying to have fun with it. Our coach really encourages the free play and those BTBs and the Twizzlers and just fun things to do that you know, when you're in that situation, you're going to be able to execute because we've done it 100 times. So,
Now, the big thing with your team, like I sort of mentioned or alluded to, was how much you guys improved from your junior year to your senior year. You had 6 wins your junior year, then you went to 11 wins this past season. What were some of the keys to your team's success this past season from your perspective that led to the jump in the win total?
Yeah, I would definitely say, I mean, that group of girls, we had been playing together for 4 years with the fifth years and some of those underclassmen, like we've been together a good amount of our careers. So the team chemistry was definitely there. And we just always talked about, this is our year. Everyone bought in and there was just no doubt about it. I never doubted us once. I just knew we were going to finish on top. And I think that's what it came down to, that this was the closest team that we had ever had and the most successful team and most talented team. So it just really came down to that. And our bond just made us come out on top.
Now, obviously, you guys won the NEC championship. So talk about what it sort of meant for you and the program to win that championship, and what did you just take away from your team's playoff run, looking back on it now, as you're starting up the new season.
I mean, winning the NEC, it really just meant everything for us. Our hard work had paid off. We were very, I wouldn't say used to losing, but we had probably more losses under us than wins. So coming out as the champions in the NEC was just everything and more. It was just the best day of our life, honestly. There's no other feeling to describe it, especially just coming down to the last seconds to get that win was unreal. So it just meant everything to us and our season in general, that I think we went on a 10-0 run during our conference play, and it's truly like unbelievable. Like I've never been a part of anything like it, and it's something that I will always look back on and cherish forever.
Yeah. And do you think, how do you try to use that experience for this upcoming season with some of the younger players? Because obviously they weren't on the team, but how do you try to how do you make sure that they sort of know what it takes to go that far and win that championship?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the things that we implemented last year, they're just going to carry over. We're going to keep encouraging them, paying attention to detail, staying disciplined. And it was actually great for them to see our ring ceremony this fall. They saw the old team come back, get their rings. So I think that kind of motivated them, because I'm sure it had to be a little uncomfortable because it wasn't you're on the team, but it wasn't your team. So I think it was really great for them to see and just see the team we had, how much fun we have together, and just that bond that we have. So hopefully that motivates them and we do it again.
So you played in your first NCAA tournament game against North Carolina. What did you learn from that experience? Yeah.
I would say, I mean, going to the NCAA tournament was just a dream come true. It was it was everything to us. And I think it showed us that we deserve to be there and that we could play at that level. We held on that first half, and I think it was just great for our not only our team but our program to see, and for those younger girls and the girls coming in to see that we could do it again, we could get there. And honestly, I'd love to get a first round win under my belt. So I think it's a big motivator and just gives us a little more confidence than we had in previous years.
Has Sacred Heart ever won a NCAA tournament game in the program's history?
No, from my knowledge, we were actually the first team from Sacred Heart to get to the first round, because prior it was a playing game.
All
So
right, all right.
it was
So
nice.
you broke history that way. Now you got to continue to
Yeah, that's round
extend
six.
the goal.
Yeah,
Exactly, exactly. Well, I know that your team's definitely capable of doing that next season, so it's gonna be fun to watch.
thank you.
So now we're in a segment I like to call 5 questions that have nothing to do with sports. And the goal of this segment is to hopefully get to know you a little bit more off the field. I think it's a pretty fun segment. So let's get started. So first one is, what type of music do you like to listen to?
I'd say I definitely love country. I love Kenny Chesney, Zach Bryan, Morgan Wallen, and also like some SZA and some other things. So a little bit of everything, but definitely a big country girl.
Nice, nice. I wanted to see Morgan Wallen in concert last summer. I was disappointed I didn't get to do that, but I definitely love listening to his music even today during the winter time, which is usually
Yeah.
not really the time to listen to country for a lot of people.
Yeah, you could do it all year round. It's still good.
Yeah, I know. I know just some people though like only listen to it during the summer. It's like kind of weird to think about.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
I The one thing about me is that I don't know actors and actresses' names. I I'm not really sure.
You can pick, I guess you can pick someone in your life. Maybe like your sister can play you.
I would say she would probably be the most resemblant of me, so I would have to go with her. That's a
All
good
right.
answer.
Um, let's talk about some of your teammates. Who's the funniest on the team?
Funniest on the team, I would have to go with Claire Ferguson.
Now, you obviously have the best off the field style on the team, but besides yourself, who would you say has the best style on the team?
Oh, thank you. But I would say maybe Izzy Lee. She's a freshman. She always has such cool sneakers, such a cute outfit coming into the locker room. So I would go with her.
What is one item on your bucket list that you would like to accomplish one day?
I think one day I would love to have a little business for myself. I'm not sure what that would be, but I think I'd always just want something on the side that I can either be creative or just have fun with.
Nice, nice, and make some more money as well, so that doesn't hurt. Now, last non-lacrosse question is, what's the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
Most interesting thing, I would say probably just like a new like holiday cookie recipe. I just like love watching those videos on Instagram. So definitely just all those fun recipes for this time of year.
Do you want to mention what the recipe is a little bit, or what the I guess the final result of it is?
I think it was just like a chocolate bark and you can make like a cool design in it, with, like any toppings, but it looks super easy and fun to make. So maybe I'll try
Nice.
that soon.
The only cookies I can probably make are the ones that you put the Hershey Kisses like on top.
That's
You've
a good
probably seen
one.
it before. It's pretty easy, but those it's my kryptonite because I'm trying
Yeah,
to stay a little bit healthy during the holiday season, or at least eat. And those things during the holiday season get me a lot. So,
yeah, those are the best.
well, let's get back to some lacrosse questions now. First one I want to ask you is, what should be done to help grow women's lacrosse?
I think other than this podcast, which is amazing, it's the only platform I've seen for women's lacrosse players to get on and kind of speak their mind and their experience a little bit. But I would just say keep promoting like Athletes Unlimited and that tournament, those games, I think is awesome for younger girls to see. I think they do a great job. And I think it's heading in the right direction. So definitely things like this and AU are heading in the right direction.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, Emma. That really does mean a lot. I hope that I'm glad that this small little platform is helping out players like yourself, because I think, in my opinion, I don't know if you noticed this, but I think it's definitely getting better with regards to coverage and sort of promoting. But I feel like a lot of promotion is with only certain teams and players. So I hope this is a way for different leagues and different players from different teams can get sort of the same amount of coverage as players from those top schools, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you. And I think it's great that you just have players from all different conferences and areas on here. So it's really amazing.
Well, before we let you go, Emma, do you have any shout outs you want to give to any of your teammates, former teammates, family members, and friends? And who should we have on the podcast next?
I definitely want to shout out Sacred Heart Women's Lacrosse, but also I probably let's have my younger sister Ella on the podcast next. I think she'd be a great interview.
Awesome. We'll definitely reach out and see what she has to say. But Emma, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time. It means a lot to myself, and I wish you and your team nothing but the best for the upcoming season. I know you guys are going to do great things and potentially win that first program NCAA tournament game as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. It's been really awesome.
Well, I just